Yo, welcome everyone once again to the We Are Gamers series. My name is your host, Champ Tone, aka Psychosis, a gamer with a passion for Jesus and gaming. Word, Jesus loves you. Today we have the honor and privilege of a returning guest, someone who has been another friend of mine who has been no stranger to the show, someone who I have come to respect both in their own acumen of gaming. They are a coach, diamond rank, but we do like to call him our Plat coach. Let me introduce today Peonsgozugzug. Welcome, Peons.
Thank you for having me.
Our Plat coach. You did rank diamond though. I mean, you actually did it. And I don't know if it's because of that comment that one time or
I had to redeem. I did hit some diamond before going back down and going back up, but that's the way of ranked.
yeah, word. All right, so let's just get right into it, man. So just what are you playing right now for the guests listening?
Ooh, well, I've been playing a lot of Hearthstone, a lot of
Oh, Hearthstone for Blizzard.
Runeterra. Yes,
Mm,
I'm getting to a little bit more of the card games.
mhm,
Also playing, of course, League. Uh, Doing a little bit more WoW these time
mm,
again after a few year break, and TFT and a little bit of Diablo here and there also. So kind of
mm.
changing it up a little bit, other than just a straight one or two games now.
Nice, nice. So are you like full back into WoW? Like so you're into the whole Dragonflight story? How is it? I mean, I've heard different things, so
I think it was a nice, fresh approach to some things to help move the pace about it. I don't think their crafting system worked as well as it could have or be still, but
oh
I think
really?
it was a good idea. Yeah, I think it's sometimes like people want to craft and they want to be masterful at something, but
Mm-hmm.
they also don't want to wait, uh, until the end of the expansion to finally be able to master that whole block out and become great
Oh,
at something.
they did it like that? Really?
Yeah, so it was like if you accidentally put a skill point in, it was like
Mm.
old school Diablo 2 where you're like, "Oh my god, I misclicked a skill point, reset the character." Like it almost felt like that.
Oh.
And I think that was just kind of a downturn in that system to where
Yeah,
it was like,
that
"All right, I
that
messed up.
sucks.
I can't do something else now.
Mm,
It's
mhm,
permanent." Like it's something that I don't agree with when the rest of their systems are very customizable,
mhm.
especially when you go to talents and skills. Like you can dibble dabble, try and reset many times. I
Yeah,
think,
that's an interesting decision.
yeah, I think they could have made a gold thing off of it and said, hey, if you want to respec your
Mhm.
thing, how about for a certain amount of gold or something like that?
Right, right. That's interesting. And you said you're also playing League of Runeterra and Hearthstone. That sucks about League of Runeterra though. How their team just got recently laid. A lot of their team got laid off. No, I mean that sucks. That always sucks to hear.
Yeah, every company makes their thing and they do what they want to do. But I think Karun Tara was really good at
Mm.
character development for their storyline of
Hmm.
what they're trying to do to combine everyone's story now and make it the same
Yeah.
across everything, all their games that they're pushing out. But you know, things happen, so looking forward to see what they want to do with the game if they want to continue it or move it on to the next level.
Yeah, right. We'll see. So you mentioned different games from different genres, which is so cool. So what is it about those games in particular? You mentioned WoW, you mentioned League of Runeterra, Hearthstone, League of Legends. What is it about those games in particular that you've been playing them? Why are they holding your attention right now?
Um, I think for me, it's just kind of like League, for example. I think
Mm,
I really enjoy the new season because I think it's good to give up a fresh change of things. Things might not be going well for a lot of players, or maybe it's going well for some, but giving a fresh map start, getting
mm-hmm,
new items out there, kind of changing the gameplay with
Mm,
how they did the Rift and everything. I
yeah.
think it gives it a good fresh thing, and I felt that way with WoW too, where in Dragonflight they let you fly around, they let you do a lot more content, and I think the biggest thing was the actual interaction of I just recently joined a new guild, but I have Alliance and
Oh, nice.
Horde in that guild, so
Mm,
that you're not like hoping for, oh my goodness, we don't have 20 Horde players, so I guess we're not Mythic raiding tonight,
mm,
and we'll have to wait till cross server opens just to get other Horde guilds. Now it's like my guild is half Alliance, half Horde, and you can pretty
interesting.
much do content. And I think that's a big change because
Yeah.
it is hard to find 20 people to be on time and dedicate their time to do raids, and it's a killer when
Yeah.
you're trying to do that.
At the same. Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. That's interesting. I remember when they were talking about that. I didn't know it was implemented. I mean, I've been away from WoW for a while. I haven't been following it at all. Outside of just like the lore, I might see a lore video, or I saw the new video for the next expansion coming up, which I thought was phenomenal. But other than that, that's really all the space. So you can now have the same. You can have now have both Alliance and Horde in the same guild. They can't raid together
Yes.
still, though, right?
No, you
Or
can raid
can?
together, do everything together.
Oh, can you? Wow.
hmm
Since when has that been? Was that after that was after Shadowlands? It had to be.
Yeah, I think it was in Dragonflight. I don't know if they did it in the first part of Dragonflight because I got the character leveled up, but then I didn't do any of the raids or things.
Mm,
And then I kind of just let it go for a couple years, and now I'm just returning. And I was realizing like they have these symbols on the side. Like you can do dungeons and raids with them, but I don't think you can do other content in the world with them or something like that.
okay.
It's kind of split up, so it just basically it fills some of those loopholes of like saying, "Hey, man, we really want people to raid and have fun
Mm.
together, so we need to make a system that allows that."
So they did do that. I remember there was talk of that, and I never really followed up on it. There's been so many things on my own radar that I've been following. The whole thing with Riot and a bunch of other games, especially last year, that have gone down. Wow, I was talk about being out of the loop. Holy cow. That's cool. I mean, has it been you think it's been working out? I mean, in your opinion, like
Yeah, I
'cause
think it I think
I
it
think
helps out
that's
a lot.
amazing because that was such a that's basically been a divider since the beginning of WoW. You either could do if you were Alliance, you did everything with Alliance. If you were Horde, you did everything with Horde. And I know there was always talk like, oh, there should be some content that you can do together, especially in these past few expansions where they have been uniting, even in the story, to fight the
hmm
same big baddie. So it made kind of sense. Now that hearing about it now that they're actually doing it, that's wild. That's wild, man. All right, so wow, that's cool. All right, so you mentioned WoW. WoW I know is a pay to play subscription model, and League of Legends is technically a free to play game. So is League of Runeterra and Hearthstone to a certain extent. But do you actually have a gaming budget that you have for like the year or the
Um,
month or something like that?
I Yeah, I guess it would be my allowance how I would want to spend it, like
Mm,
if I dedicate a couple $100 to myself a month to do whatever, I might
mm,
put half of that towards gaming and half of that towards upgrading a computer or something like that. So,
mhm,
yeah, a little bit of a
mhm.
budget.
So, so considering your budget now, do you feel it should be higher or lower? Honestly.
Um, I think it really depends on what you're trying to get out of the game and stuff. Like, considering that I play a WoW subscription for
Mm,
$15 or whatever
mhm.
a month, let's say it's 13.99 with the 6 month, whatever, and then
Right.
maybe buying a skin or two that I like a quarter out of League. Like I honestly don't spend too much. I
Mm,
kind of have a pretty light budget. I mean, come like Christmas time, I might spend a little more, give some skins out, and do some things. But for the most part,
mhm.
I don't really see myself spending a lot because even in WoW, I don't buy any cosmetics or anything. I just
Mm.
enjoy kind of going for the mounts or something and trying to earn things rather than
Yeah.
purchase things. And
Yeah.
in League, I just kind of like some of the skins or some of the themes, and I'll get those, but I don't feel like I'm at that point where I'm like I must have it. Like maybe if I was
Mm.
younger, I might be more like I wish I had a
Mhm.
bigger budget to go for it. But as I'm older, I'm kind of like I want to play more and do more.
Yeah.
And I like the content, and I honestly like the community, whether it's with friends or with a different community. Um, with
Mm.
the game, I just prefer that over than trying to have to budget and spend a lot of money.
Mhm. 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 That's interesting. It's like that whole meme too, though, right? It's like you work to play games, but you're working so you can't play the games. You know what I mean? All right, no, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, so you don't consider yourself a whale or anything, just because I don't know if you
No.
know what you know the whole concept of the whale, right? The
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, the whale is the person who allows free to play to exist. But free to play, it's not just happening in free to play anymore. Now it's in every game. You know, you buy a game, there's a battle pass, and I think Diablo 4 so far has one of the best mediums because their battle pass doesn't give you extra power. It's
Mhm.
just it's just cosmetic. League is in a similar vein. You don't get any power well, I mean some
We'll
skins
say some skins are broken and
yeah,
are banned, but that
yeah,
they're not supposed to. They're supposed to
they're
be
not
equal.
supposed to though. Right, right, right. They're supposed to be all equal, but for some reason one skin has a bigger hitbox or that hook can hit from a 90-degree angle for no reason, stuff like that. But it's not designed that way so you could buy the skin.
Yeah.
But in some games, I think about games like Lost Ark. I've actually been playing a few gotcha games. One I play with my kids that this is a recent one too. It's a mobile game. It's definitely one of those, "Oh, I'm about to go to bed but I can't sleep," so you just fire it up. Cookie Run Kingdom. It's a
Mm.
fun little game. But those games have like 5 different purchasable currencies. So basically like Diablo Immortal, except you can actually go forward in the game without having to buy all this extra currency. We talked about that too on one of our podcasts. Diablo Immortal was such a oh my god, like it was so blatant. Like you couldn't play the game without buying this currency unless you wanted to play for like forever just to get to a high level, which was insane. And
Yeah. And I feel a lot of mobile games are that way because I play like
oh, definitely.
uh, Empires and Puzzles and some other phone games too, especially when I'm on the road. It's easy to play. And I think with those
Mhm.
games, like you really have to set your budget and say, how much
Oh
do I
man,
actually want to gamble on to
forget it.
get a new
Yeah,
character and do this? Or how much am I just going to be like, I'm sorry, I just can't upgrade my champions or characters because I don't want to keep paying for resources
oh
on
man,
just to get ahead of the game? Because
yeah.
the thing about those games is you never get ahead because they're always
Right,
pushing content every
right,
month. There's a
right,
new
right.
champ, a
Yep,
new set, a new
yep.
more resources that you
Mhm,
need. So you got to get to a point where I feel like when you play those games for years
mm.
like I have, like it's kind of like yikes. Like you you just take a look at your Google transactions, and I think like in the first year I played that game and suckered myself into like just getting caught up because you're having fun and everything. I
Yeah.
think I spent like 2 grand on that game
Oh my goodness.
and then once you start seeing that, you kind of feel like this guilt and commitment that you have to keep playing it because
Once
you're like, well, if I suck like
right,
two
right,
grand, I better
right.
be playing this game for some years because
That's
that's
how they
two
get you.
grand,
That's how they
you
get you.
know.
Yeah.
But you don't notice how $5 every week
Mm.
can start turning into like,
Mhm.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought only for the big things, the big like Christmas deal. I only spent
Those
100
little
there and the 100 there on that sale, but then I was
right,
only spending
right,
5, then 20 here.
right, right.
It adds up so quick, and you don't even realize you
Yeah.
lost. your
Yeah.
whole money into the game.
You're like, why am I broke this month? And you look,
Yeah.
or for me, this actually happened to me. One day, my wife's like, "Babe, you need to stop buying magic cards." Because when I was into the magic scene, I used to buy singles of the physical cards.
Yep.
And I used to buy, because you could have four of a card in a deck. So I would get a set of four, maybe $3 here, $3 there, and it was like $1,500 for a month. And I didn't realize, and I'm wondering, I'm like, why are we, why is the money not where it should be? In my mind, totally
Mhm.
not realizing that we totally overspent that month. You know what I mean? And she she literally is like, "Babe, you need to stop buying these cards." I'm like, "Why? It's only been a few hundred." She's like, "No, it has not been just a few hundred." She was looking at the bank statement. She literally underlined every single one and added them up. She's like, "Babe, this is a lot of money. You need to stop." That was her exact words. And I was like, "Oh my god, did I really spend so much? Holy crap." It was, and it's just like you said, a few dollars here, a few dollars there, a few dollars here, a few dollars there. Oh, there's these rare cards. Oh, they're on sale for $20 for four of them. Yeah, all right. That's a good sale. Those $20 adds up really fast. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
And I
So
think that's one of the
go ahead.
things that I liked about Runeterra
Mm,
was um it's a game that you can really get into, and only after like 3 or 4 weeks, you can pretty much have 1 or 2 really solid decks that are competitive
yeah.
and
It didn't
enjoy the
feel
game.
Yeah, it didn't give me a feeling like I had to put money into it to get ahead. Like
And
playing the game, yeah.
Hearthstone is not that way. I feel the
Mm,
opposite, where I feel like,
mhm,
man, I
yes.
am like trying to build one solid deck. It's kind of like why I quit Pokemon also.
Mm,
Because the Pokemon trading card game, it
mhm,
was it fun? Yes. However, it was like they didn't have a way to put currency to buy stuff, but also their time locks were so far, and it's like for a new player to jump into something and be like, "Hey, I really want to play your game."
right.
Oh, I only have enough to kind of purchase one deck
Mhm. Yeah,
altogether, and
yeah.
now I can't try something new or try something creative because if I do, that could
Mhm,
put me months behind to
mhm,
getting another full deck up and running. So
mhm.
I think having, like you said, that balance between each of them is
Yeah,
kind of like, if I had to rate like the three card games, I'd say Runeterra is at the top for their way of being very friendly to make a collection and
yep,
try different things.
yep,
Hearthstone's right in the middle where I feel like you can do that, but you're gonna have to spend just a little bit of money to kind of get ahead. And then sometimes I think games go a little too extreme, saying, "Hey, we don't want people purchasing anything to get ahead or do things," but because you don't really offer enough rewards, it actually does the opposite, where you're just like, it doesn't make it entertaining and fun to keep
right,
playing.
right. That medium is so important. So you play a lot of different games, though, which is good. What's your favorite genre? Honestly, like, do you have like a genre that you prefer?
Um, I think I don't know if I have a favorite genre. I feel like
Because you literally just mentioned MOBAs, MMOs, and desktop card games, all in the last few games that you're playing.
yeah, I did. I think it honestly for me it's kind of a monthly, weekly thing of like,
Okay.
hey, maybe I'm sucking at card games, just not figuring something out,
Mm,
or whatever. So let me move to MMO. Maybe I've done all my dailies and I've gotten so far on my character, so I'm waiting
mm,
for the
mhm,
next raid
mhm.
to come out. So it's like, I think I just kind of play with the flow. Same
Yeah.
thing with like Diablo. Maybe the season was good, maybe it wasn't. Maybe
Mhm.
I'll get back into it. Like I think it's just kind of like, hey, how do they push their content and was it feeling good? And also, I think what triggers me is like, did I have enough friends that were playing it with me at the time? Because I think like I said, I think the community is important. And I know some games, like the card
Mm,
games, there's really no community
right.
in there in a way. But was it fun and entertaining
Mm,
for me to spend 2 to 3 hours a night playing these kind of games?
mm,
Or was
that's
it better off doing something more productive?
right. That's an interesting take. So do you prefer multiplayer games over single player overall?
I think I do now. I think I have funner with more multiplayer games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Do you do any indie games ever, or because most of the games you mentioned are straight up from AAA titles and all good games though. I mean, I can't fault you. I've played them all myself, so I know how good they are. But do you ever touch like the indie scene at all? Or is it just not something you go for?
Um, honestly, I wouldn't know if it was an indie game or not.
Mm.
To be honest with you,
Like, do you look like go on Steam and say, you know what, let me just see what's out there, and 'cause I
uh,
do that, I do that. I play a lot of indie games, that's why I say it. Like, a lot of the games that I play, especially the whole, like, the tycoonish industry building automation
mm,
type games, a lot of those games come from indie studios. So, I've actually but, again, this is one of those things you gotta go through a ton of garbage to get something good. I mean
yeah. I think if a friend was to recommend something,
mm,
then yeah, like let's say like I'm interested in maybe trying out Pal World or whatever. Like
I've heard you're the
it's a
second person that's actually brought that up. Interesting.
like it's a game that's like an MMO,
Mhm.
but it's like Minecraft and like Pokemon or whatever
It's
put
interesting.
together.
Yes. Yes, it
It
is.
has a very interesting concept. It's not a completed game yet, so I guess that would fit in that category, right?
Is that
Um,
that's yeah, I think that's considered an indie game. Mm,
whatever it is,
I don't know the
I'm
specific
interested in it,
terms.
but I'm also like kind of wary of like, do I want to spend a lot of time in this game as it's
Right,
not
right,
completed yet,
right.
and it might not ever get completed.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, so
I get what you're
but it
saying.
looks really fun and everything, and it looks
It
interesting because
does.
I have never played Minecraft, and I've actually
Mm.
never played a Pokemon game either. So
What? No? Not
nope,
even on the Game Boy, man? None of those? Oh
none.
my goodness. Okay, so I'm not gonna judge you. You're still my friend. I love you very much. Don't tell, just don't tell Death by Cows. So what genre so what is there a genre that you like avoid? That you know the game and you're just like, "That's just not my thing."
Ooh, um, hmm.
Yeah, like, you hear about it and you're like, it just you've never even it just doesn't you're just like, "No, no, thanks." Like, someone's like, "Hey, you wanna play this?" You're like, "No." They're like, "Oh, okay."
That's tough because honestly, I don't. I feel like I'm willing to give anything a try.
Yeah, alright.
Um, I think like even like some of the tycoon games, like I used to play quite a few of
Mm,
those back in
mhm,
the day, and I just maybe like now I haven't found something that intrigues me on what they're playing, building, and doing. So I
mm,
don't play those as much. Same with like single player games. Like I used to play Final Fantasy all the time and be into games like that,
great
where it's
series.
more single things. But
Yeah,
I haven't played a lot of those either,
mm,
just because time is limited. So it's really hard to
mhm,
like really want to invest in some of those like more single player games that
yeah.
are kind of focused on that. Like I guess I played Frontier on Steam that uh, Gary referred me to, and that and building up your village from scratch and going through each season and year and trying to build your
Oh,
community
I
and
I know the
everything.
game you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
game is actually pretty fun, but
Mm,
again, like I play it for maybe a few hours and then I
mhm,
feel like, hey, it's cool, it's nice, but I feel like I'm only interacting with myself, and so I'm kind of feeling like I start to lose interest a little bit of like I'm not feeling like, hey, there's someone to chit chat with while I'm doing this, so it kind
mm.
of dies out in a way. So I would say single player games kind of maybe I guess don't really do it for me anymore.
All right, no, that's fair enough. That's an interesting take on it too. I mean, you've played for so long. You've played the single player games, and it's just it's just how it's just what you like and what you don't like or prefer. Because that's interesting. That's an interesting take. So, with all that said, though, 2020 2023 was quite a year for many people, and in the gaming space, we all had our moments in this gaming space. Do you have a 2023 moment that you remember that was freaking insane? Like a crazy play, just something insane, or just a time you were in a Discord hanging out, you had a game with someone, just something crazy happened. Anything, anything.
Um, I think for me, I felt really good last year because in League I finally re-hit Diamond again after like 6 year drought.
And that's with the
Uh,
new Emerald tier.
yeah, and that's with the new Emerald tier with my
Right.
MMR.
Hmm.
The classic, was everyone on the forum said, like I literally had like a 60% win rate out of 200 games and was
Mm.
gaining 15 and losing 25. So I literally
Ooh.
had to go against a negative system against me
Yeah.
and still climb to that rank
Hmm.
with the odds. So I felt really good about that. I hit Masters in uh, Runeterra
Nice.
for the first time.
Yeah, you went hard in that game. I was watching you play some of those matches. Those matches were wild.
And I felt like, in Runeterra, I felt really good because I made a deck that no one else really was playing or doing. And made it
Delicious.
to Masters that way, where
Yes.
you can always play the cookie cutter. And I think
Right.
that creativity is what I like about card games, where
Mm.
you don't have to follow suit and you can come up with something creative
Yeah.
and have fun with it. So I felt really good
I love that.
last year. I think those would be my accomplishments of being
Nice.
almost 40 and being able to get back
You
on the
still got it,
horse.
bro. You still
Yeah,
got
still
it,
got
bro.
some hands.
You still got it. That's great. I love to hear that, especially in the card gaming scene, because and it's funny they call those because I know in the Magic scene because I've done it a few times. It's called the rogue deck. It's not following any type of norm, so no one has any type of defense against it, and yet it demolishes what it plays when it works right. I love to hear that. I love to hear that. All right, so you are part of a few communities. I know I'm a part of one of them, which is awesome. And is there anything specific that you are known by or known for in that gaming community by your gaming buddies? What do you feel they know you for? What do you think they know you for?
um, I think for most of my communities, I think they know me for always putting an effort to
Mm,
try and do something. Like I never want to just give up, or I always want to push forward. I always want to try. I always want to push it to the limit and fail by failing instead of just failing by quitting early or doing something. I always want to see if we can turn something around and
mm,
make it work or something. So I think that's one of the traits I'm kind of known for, just
mhm,
being like that. I think the other trait is just um, I like to just kind of joke around, be sarcastic, be funny, and just kind of
mhm.
enjoy the game and laugh about epic fails or epic wins. I
Yeah.
just like sometimes you just gotta laugh at yourself for just being a terrible player at something,
Indeed, I laugh a
and
lot.
accept that. So I really like to just laugh and just make people enjoy the game and just kind of
Mm,
like take their pros or cons and highlight
mhm,
those
mhm.
as like, hey, sometimes you're getting a little crazy there, and sometimes you're not. So
No, and that's actually pretty good. I believe that as well, to be honest. I'm in the gaming group, so I can say for myself, that's I agree. I definitely do agree with that statement. Is there a specific trait you have though that say people see you, how you have your friends list, you see people on the friends list. Sometimes, and I know there's certain, I'll see people on the friends list. There's some people I'll be like, oh, they're just go tos. You just right click and invite. And then there's sometimes it's like you wait a second. It's like, do I really want to play with that person? They're gonna be a little pushy, rush. What do you think your friends think about you when they see you on their gaming list? What do you think is the first thing that comes to mind when your name pops up on their list, whatever game it is?
Uh-huh. Hmm.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
tough one. What do
yeah. I
they
mean,
see when I come in?
what do you think? I
Uh,
mean, be honest, be honest, be honest. And I mean, I'm not trying to call you out because I don't think it's anything negative, honestly. But what do you really
no,
think? Like, because
I
you
think
know what I'm talking about because you have that.
yeah.
You know
I think
exactly
half
what I'm
of them are
talking.
thinking like, is he gonna be in a really sarcastic, uh, taunting, joking mood today, or is he gonna be more of the like, hey, let's get serious today and
Oh, that's hilarious.
let's climb up and do something.
That's interesting. That's interesting. That's interesting. So, okay. All right. Really? I mean, that's not the first thing. You're usually one of the guys. I'm like, I know he's probably busy. I just right click and invite you.
No, I think my personality is can be overwhelming for people.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm,
I know a lot of people. I'll be playing with Gary or Switchy or other people, and
mm.
being too positive or being too um, sarcastic can piss people off. And so sometimes they're just like, I'm
Yeah,
not ready for that kind of mood today. Like
I get
I don't
you.
want to deal with that kind of stuff. You know?
I understand. I understand. Yeah, okay. I can see that. That's a fair take. That's a fair take. That's definitely a fair take. So going forward, or actually no, I'm sorry. We're actually wow, we're actually almost at the end. This was such a good session. I'm over here looking at the timer like, holy cow, oh my goodness. And we have just a few questions left. And these are more around your personal your personal gaming goals. So in 2023, the year that just passed, did you have a specific goal with your gaming, albeit a rank, something you were trying to change in just what you were doing? Like, did you have any goal in your gaming?
Yeah, I was really trying to see if I could climb to high diamond in
Mm,
League.
mm,
And I kind of gave up on that goal after the MMR was just not ever adjusting, and I was just having to
mm.
work twice as hard to gain the same amount as someone that the prior season, because they made diamond, just
Right.
had to play one game and it's plus 25 and negative 17, and you know.
Yeah, that was I've seen that and it's crazy. And then they can't stay in diamond anyway because then their heart stuck emerald and they get upset, which was the whole point of that. I think that was a good change. I didn't realize there was so many people in that. What was it, plat? No, it was yeah, platinum. The plat 1 to diamond
Emerald
4
4.
range.
Yep.
Right. That whole so emerald 1 to 4 now is that plat 4 to diamond 1 section. The skill discrepancy was so large, they were able to make a whole elo just for that group, which is wild. And you have a group of people that are there, and it's like they can't get over the fact that that's where they are. That's where they are. I mean, look, this is from a bronze player, man. You are where you are, and that's that. You want to get better, you keep going. And one way to keep going is by making the goals for yourself. You said you had some goals, and you did reach diamond though. I remember I was looking over your profile. I was like, oh snap, the peons actually hit diamond. Holy cow, nice. You know? So do you have any goals now going forward for this year specifically, 2024, if any?
Um, Honestly, I think this year is kind of a year that I think I want to just enjoy gaming with my
Mm,
friends, and I think I want to push some climbing, but not as hard as I did last year because I think I hit like a lot of my goals. So I think this year
mhm,
I
mhm.
want to focus more on doing more flex with friends and doing other stuff with friends, whether it's WoW raiding and finding mounts. So I think this year is going to be a year that I kind of focus more on those games and play a little bit more Diablo, where I'm doing
Mm,
more stuff with them. Just because I think for me, I enjoy challenging myself and stuff, but
nice.
also um, when you take on to those goals of like really focusing on yourself,
Hmm. Hmm.
then you don't get as much community time with your friends because not all your friends are diamond players or play WoW or play Diablo. So
Mm,
like you kind of don't get to enjoy those experiences with them. And so I think I like to kind of trade off in that aspect
mhm.
of like, hey man, I didn't get as much time with you guys as I wanted to last year. So this year let's have some more fun and do things and get wild, you know.
Nice. That's those are some good goals. I like those goals. I like those goals. And it seems like they've really changed like as you've been playing. Like was there anything that sparked this change going from from the goals that you've had in the past? Cuz it seems like before you've really tried to push the envelope of the rank, your rank. You really always tried to push it. And you've always been a competitive player. I know this personally just from other conversations and playing with you. But what is it about that goal now and the goals that you just mentioned? Was there anything in between that kind of like was there a moment that you said, "You know what? This is kind of more fun actually doing this or I prefer to actually do this." What changed? Cuz it seems like it seems like there was a shift somewhere. Like what did it? If you can narrow it down. If you can't, that's fine too.
Well, I think for me, I think it's like knowing that I'm getting older and I
Mhm.
don't have the same amount of time that I can always dedicate and reflexes and responsibilities. It's
Mhm.
just I play so much and want to enjoy so much that it's just hard to be the best at multiple things without kind of isolating yourself.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
to me, like when I isolate myself, like I can do great, but sometimes for me, I know I realize that sometimes I get too competitive and then
No.
I just
No.
yeah, I start like when people are just trying to have a fun like
Mhm.
day and just want to play one or two games with me. I'm like, hey man, I'm going right into ranked. I'll talk to
Mm.
you guys later. And
Mhm.
then I kind of like then it's like a week and it's like, man, I haven't played with these guys for a week and they've always offered a spot for me to have fun with them or do something and I'm just so focused on climbing or doing something else that I feel like I'm not gaining what I want out of the game because then I'm just
Mm.
like I'm just I think having more breaks now for me
Yeah.
helps me enjoy the game more and
Mhm.
it like keeps up with the community more of enjoying the time with my friends rather than uh thinking I'm 22 and thinking I can just in a month be like,
Yeah.
all right, boys, I'll be masters in a month, and then we can have fun together. Like I can't do that. It takes me all season to kind of
I like
uh,
that.
push myself. So I want to space it out more and enjoy those fun moments and those
Yeah.
entertaining moments because they bring more laughter
Mm.
than when
Mm.
you're really trying to be too serious. You kind of uh, forget why you're playing in the first place, you know?
Mm.
I'm not I'm
Mm.
not going to any competitive league or being paid for my time, you know. Only if
Mm.
I got my Twitch back up and running, I'm paid for entertainment
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff and trying, but yeah, I really just want to spend more time with my friends and it's just kind of an overall I think it's something like when you get older, the older you keep getting, the more you want to enjoy that time with your friends and
Mm.
and do
Absolutely.
things up.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Yo, that's awesome. That's a great That's great. I really like to hear stuff like that. I really like to hear stuff like that. And I mean, with the podcast series, letting people know about the people who have come on, and it's these are real human moments, which I like to highlight. I like to highlight these things, like we're growing up, and it's always interesting because I'll interview a few younger people, and their answers will be totally different, and I love to hear that. But at the same time, I hope they hear these other episodes so they can hear these older, more seasoned gamers, both in age and experience, and because these are important things. I mean, everything that you brought up, I can honestly say is something that I can understand to a point, in one way or another. That whole the entire aspect of what you say, I respect that opinion so much. And yeah, I really do appreciate that answer, like more than you realize, because that's you're literally explaining how you've gone from this, you wanted to push, 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 and now you see the value of the community around you, and now it's almost like that's more fun for you, right? Am I wrong in saying that? Like,
Nah, I would rather get tore up in a game of ranked flex where I'm just like, well, we got demolished, and I mean, it's a new challenge. It's like
mhm.
saying, like, we played a game the other day and we got
Oof.
demolished, and
Yes,
like
we
I
did.
was like 10-1, and everyone else is like 3-7. But it's like I had a chance to like maybe
Mhm.
do something in that game, but I
Mhm.
didn't. So it's like it's still challenging me to like really
Mhm.
play my ass off. But at the same time, we're laughing about it. We're
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
to
yeah.
do stuff. We're like, well, that arrow went far
Well,
right.
not
All right. Well, I
not
guess we're all dead now.
Well, not everybody was laughing in that game. I know that much, but oh
Yeah.
man, this was really good, Peons. This was really good. This was a great session. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. You've been on panels. We've had you on the 1v1 before. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for coming on the show again. Thank you for being a part of this. I really appreciate your time and input. This was great, man. This was really good. Thank you.
Well, thank you for always throwing an invite out there and allowing me to come on. So it's been amazing.
All right. This was awesome. This was a great episode. All right. So let's just wrap it up real quick. So, just to everybody listening, thank you once again for letting us grace your space. You are awesome. Jesus loves you, and ganadora.